Do you know who Peter Thiel is?
Yes.
He's one of my favorite entrepreneurs. My sales guys probably get sick of me talking about it, dude. So I'm like, and then when you go listen to a video or watch a video of Peter Thiel, you're like, this guy's kind of boring, and he like seems like he might have Asperger's or something. Like it's like it's not like charismatic or anything like that, right? So Peter Thiel, first outside investor in Facebook. He's the founder of PayPal. He created a culture where from PayPal stemmed multiple billion-dollar company creators. So like one of the things that he's always talks about how Google is an incredible company, but you don't ever see anybody come out of Google and start a successful company. Yeah. PayPal was an incredibly successful company. Everyone that was in the PayPal mafia, the original days, they all started massively successful companies. So like, what did we do differently than Google, basically? And that was all stemmed from him. He's an incredibly intelligent person. He's a savant, like really brilliant. Yeah. He just loves chess too, which is kind of this quirky, like strategic thing about him. But I've watched countless hours, anything I can find on Peter Thiel, interviews from him, right? Okay. And he's funny because he kind of says the same stuff in like all of them. And most of the interviews you can find on him online are from when he was doing his book debut called 0 to 1, which is a really good book. So what I'm saying is like you can't find much of what he said that's different than all of these interviews, right? And there's this one video that I literally, as hard as I search for it, I can't find where he said this anymore. It's either got taken down or I've just am not like looking hard enough. But in one of his interviews, he poses this question and he says, so this isn't the unique thing. He says this in all of them, but I'll get to the cool thing. He says, play this thought out with me, all right? If Bill Gates didn't start Microsoft, would someone have just come along and started Microsoft after him? It's like if Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak didn't start Apple, would someone come along and just started Apple? Right? Wow. And he goes, I would argue, because he's talking about this idea of like really, really successful, impactful, life-changing businesses are only created once. And so trying to model the next Facebook, it won't work because like Facebook is only a one-time thing. Had Zucks not started Facebook, would it have happened? Probably not. That's what his argument is. So he's like, I would argue that those are one-time things that would not have happened in an alternate universe, basically. Wow. That if they didn't do it, no one else would have. And he's like, the type of value, because he has a fund now where they invest in tech companies typically, and like really revolutionary ideas. Okay. And so like Tesla, SpaceX, a bunch of other different things, Palantir. But then he goes to this point, he goes, so this is the thing that I like to ask entrepreneurs that think they have revolutionary ideas. Is like, if you start this company, right, you go make it successful, you need to ask yourself, if you didn't do it, would someone else come along and do it? Wow. And if the answer is yes to that, because it's an idea where like, yeah, we needed a different type of flooring because like this flooring is better than this certain one and it just makes sense to make this. So like someone else would have made this company if we don't, you know? So then he poses this question even further and he goes, so this is what I want everyone to really think about is what will you be in your life that if you aren't that thing, then no one else will be that thing. Wow. So like, who will you become? What company will you start that if you don't do it, no one else will? It's that unique. It's that personal. It plays that much to your own strengths, to your own abilities, that if you don't do it, no one else will. Wow. And so that hit me so hard when I was listening to I was in the gym, in my garage gym working out, doing 75 hard, and it was my second workout of the day. And I'm listening to Peter Thiel and I'm doing sales training all along with it. And I'm like, wait, what did he just say? And I rewinded it and it's like, this is the question, is if you don't do it, who else will? And like, what's the one thing that you can choose to dedicate your life to that if you don't do it, nobody else will? And so that's the question that I've like posed to a lot of the people that I work with is like, I need you guys to just ask this question for yourself that like here at this company, what's the one thing that you're going to do that if you don't do it, no one else will? What's your unique contribution that like plays perfectly to your strengths that you can go will into reality, right? And so then this is where this idea came into my mind as you were talking is like, I kind of want to go as I'm building out my own first creation for like my life and my family, which Sarah and I do quite often. I'm the dreamer though, and she's like, she like loves watching her dream. She's the practical like executor, right? I ask myself this a lot. It's like, what's the thing that I'm gonna do here where I am that if I don't do it, no one else will? And then thinking about that, like in terms of like being a father or like a husband, even, it's like, what's the one thing that you'll do, or who will you be that if you aren't that thing, like no one else would be that thing, right?
Yeah.
What type of husband are you going to be that is like irreplaceable, and or father that's irreplaceable, or friend, right? What's the type of friend that I'm going to be that if I'm not that type of friend, literally no one else will be for that person?
Yeah.
And I also think about that when I'm trying to like mentor people too. And I have a couple of friends right now that I've tried to take under my wing that I know were suicidal recently. And that is like the thing that I've asked myself as I've thought about the time commitment to go be a friend for someone, checked against all of my other responsibilities, and I just asked myself, like, if I'm not something to this person, I highly doubt someone else will be, you know? And like when you can make your decisions that way, it's like really, it's kind of life-changing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've been rambling a lot, dude, but like, is that all
no, it totally
make it sense hitting home?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And as you can see, it makes me emotional thinking about it. For the stuff that matters most, friendship, fatherhood.
Nobody could replace the actual father, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
if you are that for
your kids, like, be irreplaceable.
Do you think Tiger Woods' dad wanted Tiger to be that for Tiger or for him?
Well, I guess what I would say is I haven't ever really thought about that question, but I did think about the reverse of that.
Okay.
Meaning, like, do you think Tiger did it for him or for his father?
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Interesting, dude.
Right. And I've been dabbling with that a little bit in like different celebrities. I know I was telling you to watch that documentary on Val Kilmer, of like wondering, like, did he do stuff for himself or did he do it for somebody else, his brother?
It's on my list this weekend.
So I have thought about that with that opposite with Tiger Woods, right? Was it for himself or was it for his father?
Okay.
And oddly, you know, Sigmund Freud, right? We all know who Freud is.
Yeah.
He said, "We all demand reparations for our early wounds, thinking we are owed because we were wronged or deprived."
Dang, dude. Interesting.
Right. So we have to face who we really are and why we do things, right?
Yeah.
And this is why I'm using jiu-jitsu. This is how I teach jiu-jitsu differently, is I want to introduce you to who you are and why you're doing these things and where does it come from, right? So that we can make those changes, so that we don't have to be playing this game of looking at the world as a 6-year-old child. Like, when are we going to change our perspective? We're not 6, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Why are we going about the world as if it owes us something for something that happened when we were children?
Right.
Like, when are we going to make the change and change our perspective?
Right.
You know? So along with that, I've also thought, like, how was he successful in these tournaments? Like, in the most nerve-wracking moments, like, how did he do it? How did he avoid his nerves, right? And we all know, like, through practice, through repetition, through doing these things. But for me, that's not enough, right? Okay. I also think, like, a John Jones. How does he do it? How does he perform? How does he do it? And I only bring him up. We've talked about John a little bit, but I only bring him up because I also study John. I could say whatever I want. The guy is the greatest fighter of all time.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I want to study him too, just like I said about Tiger Woods. I'm not looking at these guys to break them down and put them down. I'm looking at these guys because I want to know what they did. You know, I want to know what they did right, good and bad,
right,
so I can learn from it. You know, and I think that's sometimes what we forget, is to learn from the athletes who have the fall. Don't just look down upon them.
Yeah, of course.
Right? So I look at these guys. One of those guys would probably be Bobby Fischer as well, right? I think that's a whole podcast on its own. I study Bobby Fischer. I love Bobby Fischer, you know. But I look at what was going on in Tiger Woods' life, and I think with these elite athletes who have trouble in their personal life and succeed on the highest level, I think something gets interesting to my mind. And what I think is, I almost wonder if they want to have so much drama in their personal life that they have more to fear in their personal life than they do on that scale.
Ooh, wow. That's interesting.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
right.
He has so much. Like, he's like, dude, you think I'm worried about making this 18-foot hole?
I got bigger things to worry about.
Bro, do you even know what I'm doing?
Yeah.
In my personal life.
And the answer to that was for a while no, right?
Right. And I think we can apply that to other athletes that we've mentioned. Like, their personal life might be that crazy, or even think about a Mike Tyson too, right?
Dude, yeah.
Like
great example.
His life was messed up, but in the moment he shined.
Mm-hmm.
Tiger Woods, he shined in that moment. And the most nerve-wracking, even if you're playing golf for fun, man, dude, you're about to have a birdie, dude. Your hands get a little shaky. You get a little nervous.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, dude, this dude did it, and he did it the best that anybody's ever done it. And he did it well while he had the most crazy personal life that probably anybody's ever had. And I think that actually in a way might have benefited him, because now, like I said, man, what does this got to do? I got way more bigger problems.
Yeah,
than
like
this.
the pressure of the tournament, or the comfort that, like, sorry, the pressure of the tournament, or like, you know, any of those shots, right, was more comfortable than like
exactly.
outside of that. So like, yeah, I feel like at home here rather than
exactly
the craziness of my personal life.
And this would make me venture to say, like, when athletes take steroids, right? Let's take Major League Baseball. We had this Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds. Like, we all know, like, yeah, steroids made them stronger, but the hand-eye coordination, it's not doing anything with that. But what if, what I'm proposing is, what if it wasn't even the steroids that helped him? What if they said, I have more to worry about that you don't know about than the pressure of the moment of hitting a ball?
Dang, dude. Dang. I've literally never even thought. That's like so much deeper than I would have ever guessed, like, to think about with what makes someone like, what does Bob Rotella say? He calls it, I love this term, unflappable.
Yeah.
It's like such a great way to describe it, right? Like,
absolutely.
You're unflappable. Like, what makes it so that you are unshaken, unmoved,